Two. Hello. Hello, folks. Fixing some camera settings here. Very quickly. Hello. 1, 2, and cut the power. That was probably the greatest stream of all time yesterday. For anyone who was around for that legendary episode of TRRS yesterday. One of the best I've ever done, I think. It was kind of like an avant-garde, like a postmodern, kind of self-referential sort of a vibe. You look fit. Thank you, Up the Reds. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you also to Big Tex Jackson. Tex, thank you. 8 months resub at tier 2. Thank you so much, Tex. And thank you to Lexi Rose as well for the 4 months to tier 1. Hello. Thank you, Lexi and Tex. Maybe we can do a replay. Maybe we can do a replay of the whole episode yesterday. I don't even know if it's saved. Oh yeah, here. So okay, if you missed it, listen. We can do it. Very rare. We can just redo the whole.
You can count on me.
The whole episode.
Good old Rob to
How about that?
talk
We'll just
you
do a
through all
rerun.
this.
We'll just do a rerun of the previous episode for anyone that missed it. Okay, this is a brand new thing we're going to do here. Thanks, Comrade Social Distancing, for the gifted sub. Thank you so much. And I believe I got a resub message from Comrade Social Distancing yesterday, but for the 24 months, I also got it, I think, the previous day, so I don't know if that was a repeat. I also didn't say thank you to Vlad the Victor, resubbing yesterday for 14 months of Prime Bucks. Okay, here we go. Here was yesterday's stream in its entirety. Sit back and relax. Sit back and relax. Here we go. Here it is. We're just going to watch the whole episode. Great. That's it. That was all it was. That was all it was. Like the Steely Dan shirt. Thank you, Robo Gaming. I don't know if you saw on Twitter, I posted my top music listened of the year, and it was one of the most. I was Dan pilled previously, but I somehow became even more Dan pilled this year. If you saw that. I think Twitch is young and confused about its attraction to me, so I got the sub twice. I think so. I think that was it. How did staring blankly at the camera become your thing? What is the lore? I don't know if there is any lore behind that, Lexi. It's just something that I started to do. I just start the stream by staring blankly at the camera for a good 30 to 60 seconds. I don't know why. I just think it's kind of funny to do. I just think it's a funny thing to do. That's all. That's the whole lore. People seem to enjoy it. I don't know. Don't ask me to explain why. Don't ask me to explain why people seem to enjoy it, though. I don't know. Anyway, so literally the moment I was already late starting the stream yesterday, and literally the moment that I started, like the moment that I went live, my power went out. I lost all power. I felt like I did it with my mind. I really do miss the lunch eating. It was a nice way to ease into the stream. I have been having lunch because I've been making these messy sandwiches that are not good for eating on stream. I don't have drippy egg yolk on my face and stuff. He's not using hypnosis for cult recruitment. That's absolutely right. Let's make that perfectly clear right away. Because it's not a cult. Exactly. So yeah, I did kind of feel like I did it with my mind yesterday. Like I shut off all the power in my building. I was just like staring intensely at the camera and just everything just went and just like, shut off. Your top music of the year is so iconic. I couldn't be more of a cliche. Like, I'm 39 years old. I'm not cool anymore. I'm struggling with all kinds of insecurities, and of course my top music of the year looks like this. Because of course it does. $3,534 streamed of Steely Dan. My top artists are Steely Dan, Donald Fagen, who's the singer of Steely Dan, his solo work. Also a fan of the solo work. Boz Scaggs. And I don't know, the top artist is kind of deceptive because like I don't like Boz Scaggs that much, but I did listen a lot this year to the Boz Scaggs song Lowdown. That was one of my top 5 or 10 most played songs of the year, so that's why he's on there. Doobie Brothers, which is really just a Michael McDonald thing, and Dire Straits, of course. Where's the Christopher Cross? He was in the top 20 most played tracks, but he, as an artist, for some reason, didn't get up there. He probably should have been, because I did listen to a lot of Christopher Cross this year. I didn't do the festival generator. No, I probably should have. But check this out. Check this out. The top 5 most played tracks. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Is the most ridiculous thing. This is the most ridiculous cliched thing. It was really that kind of year. My top 5 most played tracks. It's just the album Gaucho. The first 5 songs from the album, the Steely Dan album Gaucho. Because I just listened to this album on repeat for the whole year, basically. I mean, I listened to Gaucho or playlists that were related to these songs. That was pretty much my entire musical and my own music, but that doesn't show up on there. It's literally just the first 5 songs. I love the intro to Babylon Sisters. It's fucking great. Yeah. Bernard Purdy. I love all these songs, really. But my number 1 track of the year was Hey 19. And again, it's just could not be more of a cliche. I guess you were 20 years older and American based on these results. Well, it is. That's the thing. It's my dad. It's like I've just become my dad now. You're 39. I thought you were my age. Well, thank you for the compliment, Lexi. Yes, I'm 39 years old. I am turning 40 years old in June. I'm still got a ways to go, okay? It's only early December. Still got another half a year here to enjoy my 30s, the tail end of my 30s. What's up, Squatch Drew? Hello. But yes, that is how old I am. You're not allowed to stop watching now, Lexi. You're not allowed to stop watching. That would be insulting to me, and it would hurt my feelings. Cheers to you, everyone. I just downed the rest of this. Hello, Husker. That was very refreshing. So a lot of stuff to catch up on today then. Because I wasn't around yesterday because of the power. Raptors beating the Nets tonight. I don't know. They've already lost to the Nets twice. And they're still struggling to they're getting guys back from injury, and they're still kind of struggling to figure out how to go back to how they were playing at the beginning of the year. So we'll see. I don't know. Nets are starting to click too. I know Ben Simmons is starting to play well for them finally. They've got some guys. Obviously, they have 2 of the best scorers in the league. So they're going to be tough, regardless of how dysfunctional they've been. So I don't know. The Raptors played really well against Cleveland 2 games ago. Played horribly against the Pelicans the other night. So, well, I don't know what we're going to get tonight. I would like for them to win. I would like for them to beat the Nets. I know they can. But will they? That's the question. I don't know. Squatch Drew, I think I've got one win in our fantasy league. It really killed me by missing that draft. Even though Squatch Drew reminded me of the draft like 5 times, I still just didn't do it. And I got screwed over. I got screwed over big time in my team. In the TRRS fantasy league. Excuse me. After LeBron admonished the media about Jerry Jones, Twitter really could have profited from the slur surge pricing. Seriously, yeah. This is an interesting point. I think it is an interesting point that LeBron and others have been making when it comes to like Kyrie and stuff. How quick the media is to hold them accountable, which doesn't mean to say that it shouldn't be held accountable, but how quickly they are to do that. And LeBron's got to have a take on this. You got to ask LeBron every single day about his statements, but then these fucking old segregationists that own the teams, that technically own and exploit the players, they just get to skate away from that kind of stuff. 5 times. I think, Alana, this does count. I did do an episode yesterday. Okay? It was about 15 seconds long, the episode. That still counts, though. So I did technically do 5 streams this week. I literally just stared at the camera for like 15 seconds yesterday, and that was the whole thing, but still. There was a brief secret stream in the chat. It's hard to keep the chat going, though. As soon as you refresh, then you lose everything. So when I click on the stream and change my mind and close the window, have I watched the stream? No. Not that you would ever do that, obviously, G Cluppy. Obviously, you would never do that, but as that example, you didn't talk us through it, so I don't think it counts. I've never done it. Obviously, you've never done that, but no, it doesn't count because like that was like, if there's a show and I'm talking and you're not watching it, that doesn't count as watching, but I technically did do a stream. It just happened to be 15 seconds long. That's all. That is all. So a lot of stuff to get into. I did just finish one soda. I'm thinking about opening another. Maybe not another Coke. I did mention in the secret stream yesterday in the chat that I did manage to procure a case, which is, it's very rare to find this for some reason, of Diet Canada Dry Cranberry Ginger Ale. Which you can just get the Diet Ginger Ale and just mix that with a little cranberry juice, which is nice. And I recommend that people do that if they want a little treat. But it's rare to find the actual Canada Dry cranberry. It's very good. It's very good soda. I'm gonna grab one of those, I think, in a couple minutes. What is everyone else working on? What do you got going? What do you got going over there? Beverage wise. You got any water? Any coffees? Cold coffee. Oh, no. Second cup of black tea. Okay. Is it Canada Dry or just dry? It is Canada Dry. Big old water. Okay. Good. I don't know if they still make it, but when I was a kid, I loved the Canada Dry Grape Ginger Ale. I have never even heard of that, Ms. Squatch. I've never even heard of that. Grape Ginger Ale. Wow. Is there a Discord? Yes, there's a Discord. You can find it in the About section of the Twitch channel, or you can just click the link right there to join the Discord. It's a wonderful Discord community. It is a wonderful Discord community. I recommend everyone join this. Even the lurkers, even the non-subscribers, even you, even the lowly non-subscribers that happen to be watching, even you, I encourage you to join the Discord server. That's how magnanimous I am. That's how magnanimous this community is. We'll even welcome in, on the outside looking in, non-subs into the Discord server. That's how free and open we are about this kind of stuff. And we love it. We should pool the sub money to purchase a business and then make the non-subs work there for only a fraction of the value they create. That is a smart idea. That is a smart idea. Has anyone thought of that? No one's ever thought of that before. Someone should do that. And I tweet that I'm live here, which I often forget to do, as you know. Tweeting that I'm live, though. I found the most chemically toxic sugar-free soda in existence. Okay, let's see this. Oh, wow. This must be good because it looks like Windex. Is this some kind of ungodly Danish concoction? Harbo Bliberbrus. Sometimes I really am craving a nice ice cold cup of Harbo Bliberbrus. I must admit. Sometimes, you're working hard. The sun's out. You need a little boost. You need a little something. And that little something is an ice cold Harbo Bliberbrus. Very good. And if you run out of wiper fluid, you're sorted. There you go. Works both ways. It quenches your thirst and it cleans that nasty stuff off the windshield as well. Streak free. It's not going to leave streaks on the window. And it's also, your stomach lining is A-okay after. We talking slurp juice? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. IRL slurp juice. I once drank a full bottle of blueberry wine. Do not recommend. That sounds not good. Yeah. I agree. I agree that sounds not good. Also, what is this? Which one of you is this? This is kind of alarming. Okay? Who is this? I literally wasn't even streaming, and I get this notification. Notification. Wonderful. How many slurp juices can you use per ape? That is the eternal question. That is the eternal question, isn't it? We may never know. We may never not have an answer to that question. As always, folks, if any of you are in the CIA,
you can count on me. You're going to have good old
great.
Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you, Prybars, for your second gifted sub is going to go to the probably CIA. Wonderful. Just so they can get all the emotes now as well. As always, though, if any of you are in the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, CSIS, the RCMP, MI6, Mossad, whatever, DHS, you have to say you are, or else it's illegal. That's the law. You have to tell us. Yeah, I'm in the CIA. Cool internet associates. Hell yeah. Radicalize the spooks. Thank you, Prybars. It would be funny if my CIA guy that got assigned to the channel ended up watching the show and being like, you know what, this guy makes a lot of good points. I hadn't considered some of this stuff. He's gifting subs. He's giving like a PowerPoint presentation to his commanding officer in charge or whatever. Special agent in charge, I think they call it. So as you can clearly see in slide 1, the friendship triangle is not pyramid shaped. You forgot the CSE. Okay, thank you, Clumsy Juggler. First time chat. Clumsy Juggler. A little suspicious. That's a little suspicious. AITI for being the Fed. A little bit, yeah. There's absolutely a Netflix series in that story. Wouldn't that be funny though? I'm going to tear the whole system down from the inside by slowly brainwashing and communism pilling the special agents and the intelligence community assets that are assigned to watch this channel. What if what if they are ICE? Oh boy. I would have just deleted that. So instead of typing out I would have deleted with the previous part. Because now that just seems suspicious, Outrun. Jeez. The parasocial agents. You're like a down pilot in North Korea. That's what I mean. If they got Korea pilled. The next time they're getting a lecture at the CIA about Kim Jong-un is like stockpiling these missiles. They're working on their nuclear program. It's like, well, sir, if you looked into what happened in the Korean War, we did some terrible stuff there. We did some very terrible things. It's not surprising that they're doing that. We're parked right on their border aiming nukes at their country. Interesting you didn't mention FSB in that list. Well, then I don't mind. You know? It's really just one of the agencies that's going to get me in trouble. If FSB is watching this, they're just like, duh, continue. Yes. I support this. We're not even monitoring the channel as part of our career. It's more just for fun, for we see the information that it makes us feel good. That's what they're saying. Putin actually assigns them to watch the channel, not because they're to like monitor the channel or anything, but just so they get the right ideas. The best job of the FSB, of course. Yeah. If I were an intelligence operative infiltrating this channel, I'd pretend to be from a foreign country, so my awkwardness as an agent would be explained by cultural differences, and I'd be sure to put comrade in my name to avoid suspicion. I mean, obviously that's not true, comrade social distancing on your part, but it would be crazy if someone did do that, though. It would be pretty wild if anyone actually did that. Anyway, if you're watching from the CIA, I haven't done anything wrong, okay? I haven't done anything illegal. We still have free speech in Canada and the United States. Or at least I thought we did. There's nothing illegal going on. All we're doing is talking. That's all. All we're doing is just having little discussions. It's just a community of friends. We like to talk about lunches, snacks, beverages. Sometimes we talk about the news and stuff, but we're not planning anything scary. We're not planning anything serious. All we're doing is talking about these issues. CIA is literally in the middle of their username. Oh, fuck. It's a little late in Denmark to be watching the stream. It's a reasonable early afternoon in Langley, Virginia. Okay, I'm starting to get a little paranoid, actually. I am starting to get a little paranoid. I was joking at first, but now it's like, come on now. Because as I start scanning the chat, this is what's playing in my head now. How long has Comrade Social Distancing been part of this community anyway? It just kind of appeared one day. I've been a big supporter of the channel just to gain my trust. CIA is right there in the middle of the name. Why? Who are any of you? I don't know who any of you are. I've never met any of you in real life. How do I know any of you are real people? You could be anyone. Yeah, I've seen some pictures in a Discord server, haven't I? And you've all just surrounded me. You all just pay attention to everything that I say, every single day. You're almost like you're watching me, almost like you're observing me. Y'all just tune into Rob's before you go into the Pentagon on-site Hooters for a team dinner. You gotta do that. You gotta do that team building. Are you even sure I'm texting? I don't even know if any of you are real human beings. How do I know that you're not AI bots? You most certainly did not appear in the greater robbery sphere at the same time as the CIA got their cyber warfare bill passed and hired 2,000 new online agents. Okay, I'm getting freaked out now. This isn't cool. The worst part is that we pay you. This makes even you on the CIA payroll. Exactly. And I'm not out doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Because I've created a prison of my own making. I just locked myself into this space every single day. What if none of us are real and your life is completely synthetic like the Truman Show? How would I know if you weren't? I've met a few Chargers.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Real Rob is strapped to a chair in a CIA black site. I have met M. Carnoba in person. I've met at least one of you. Part Ian, thank you for the 15 months tier 1. Thank you. Real Rob is strapped to a chair at a CIA black site. It was the shaving that was when the switch was made. We had that PNW TRRS meetup read our mid-year review with our commanding officer. Oh my gosh. The actor currently playing M. Carnoba. Yeah, what if this bit is all just a way to get you to trust me? What if this is all to get you to let your guard down? How do you know that I'm in Montreal? How do you know that I'm not in a cubicle in Langley, Virginia? Oh, this guy's got a Lenin statue. You must be able to trust him. You must be able to trust him. What have I been telling you this whole time, chat? You shouldn't trust anyone. Not your friends, not your family, not me. You shouldn't even trust yourself. You avoided listening to my most basic lesson. Think, chat, think. I don't have the energy to keep up this bit. It's very unsettling. I know. Outruns. Like if you like ever put that on in your car, you're driving, you automatically just start checking the windows, checking the mirrors and stuff. Am I being tailed? Have I picked up a tail? The production values and the volume levels there were somewhat lacking. Was it too loud? The music? I don't know. If it turns out Rob was the agent all the time and I was just part of an operation to flush out commies, I'll be so embarrassed I'll turn myself in. That you would all be owned pretty hard by that, wouldn't you? You really would. This is me. I have to go for groceries now. It's a very unsettling song to be listening to. I'm furtively glancing around. It's okay. I'm not in the CIA. And I'm sure at least one or two of you are. But like, again, we're not doing anything wrong. It's me talking to chat.
Life is like a box of chocolates. Cheap, thoughtless, perfunctory gift that nobody ever asks for. Unreturnable because all you get back is another box of chocolates. So you're stuck with this undefinable whipped mint crap that you mindlessly wolf down when there's nothing else left to eat. Sure, once in a while there's a peanut butter cup.
Okay, fuck. You know I'm not the CIA because I haven't done something like offer something for free, like an old graphics card, and ship it across the border, knowing it will sit within Rob's broadcast location at all times. God damn it. God damn. Although I'm here. Like, you don't even need to monitor me. I'm literally right here, saying all the stuff in front of a camera and a microphone. Like, the stuff that I say when I'm not on the microphone is way less intense than any of this stuff. Like, you wouldn't be capturing anything interesting. It'd just be like me answering questions to my son about like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's all you would be getting. Like, this is where all the meaty stuff is we're like live on this live streaming platform into a microphone. All the subversive thoughts that I have, I just turn it into content. I don't have anything else beyond this. Capturing Rob eating apples.
We simply
showing his son
use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
CIA, no. Foreign intelligence service, maybe.
You never know. You never know who's looking, right, Dimitri? That Dimitri sure went away for a couple of months with the beginning of that whole Russia-Ukraine operation. And then came back mysteriously one day like nothing ever happened. Thank you, Dimitri, for the 200 friend coin as well. They're not looking in for info on you. It's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde operation. Yeah.
English toffee, but they're gone too fast and the taste is fleeting. So you end up with nothing but broken bits filled with hardened jelly and teeth-shattering nuts. If you're desperate enough to eat those, all you've got left is an empty box filled with useless brown paper wrappers.
Well, that was fun. That was fun. haven't rewatched really any of those later X-Files. I've only watched the first couple of seasons. I never really watched beyond, like, especially when it got to like the Patrick Stewart era. Or sorry, not Patrick Stewart. Robert Patrick, when he replaced David Duchovny for a season. I never saw any of that, anything beyond that, any of the movies, anything like that. Patrick Stewart era would have been very good. That's true. Agent Doggett, one of the best characters. Okay, I thought the Robert Patrick season was maligned in X-Files fandom. I thought it was maligned. I'm just going to grab another soda, folks. I'll be right back. Sorry. God, JFK is so good. Hold on one sec. The beverage loadout in my fridge right now is tremendous. It's really good. I got 2 cases of Bublé, 1 case of this. This is the first one I've had. Diet Cranberry Ginger Ale, really good. And a brand new case of Coke Zero Cherry. The beverage loadout is very solid. Chin chin.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Oh, that's very refreshing. My nightstand soda of choice. My nightstand soda of choice is probably a Diet Ginger Ale, or it's a Bublé. And I'm just saying it like Bublé now. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I'm just going to keep saying it like that. I said bubbly at first, but then people started correcting me. Probably one of those, though. I haven't watched any of the clips of Kanye on Alex Jones. I haven't watched any of those clips. I was planning on doing it yesterday. I feel like we should probably watch them, right? Yeah. Seems like it's pretty wild stuff. I've never heard Alex Jones do an uncomfortable laugh, but it's there. I mean, okay, so there's a couple things I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about that. I want to talk about the rail strikes. I want to talk a little bit about further crypto scams collapsing. Yesterday's stream was nuts. You like that, Maxi? I thought people liked it. Again, it was like, talk about avant-garde artists. You know, I'm right up there too. Yesterday was like a postmodern deconstruction. Did the rail strikes get their sick leave? Of course they did not. No, of course they did not. I dislike the guy having a mental breakdown for entertainment thing, but I guess that's never going away. And also, you can't, like, Sean, you can't chalk this all up to a mental breakdown.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Like, at one point, you just have to say that he's...
Netanyahu.
Netanyahu, oh wow. Lackluster. And Just Belmont, too. Thank you for the 6 months, tier 1. Thank you. Netanyahu. I've never... Talking about beverages, I've never had Yoo-hoo before. Is that something I should check out? But, like, after a certain point, though, you can't just frame it as being, like, a mental breakdown, right? Obviously, that's part of it. But he's just, like, he's just saying things that he believes. And you don't get a get-out-of-jail-free card for stoking anti-Semitism. No, and, like, even if, because some people have tried to hold on to this idea that it's not only that Kanye is having some kind of mental breakdown, but he's doing some kind of, like, artistic, some kind of like bit, you know. I saw remember a long thread pointing to all these clues in his work, referencing Andy Kaufman, and how they think he's doing some kind of like extended modern art and Andy Kaufman, blurring the lines between performance and reality art project. But like, even if that were true. And part of me, like, there's a part of me that almost, like, believes there's something to that just because of the way that Kanye is, like, going on all these right-wing shows, basically, and getting all these right-wing people to embrace him and then saying, like, these outrageous things that they all believe, but they're not allowed to talk about. There's part of me that almost wants to believe that, but even then, though, like, are you, even if that was totally the reason that he was doing that, aren't you, like... still doing more harm than possible good you were doing through some kind of like performance, right? You're still like giving this massive platform to the absolute worst people. You have influence over millions of people. He's an A-list celebrity, huge celebrity. Even if it was, even in the off chance that this was some kind of like performance art, extended performance art thing, like you're still, the Groypers are definitely getting more value from him than he gets from them. Like, absolutely. Like, even if that was true. And I think the most likely scenario is that he's a very rich and a very rich celebrity who does have emotional problems, who's going through all this fucked up shit, and who has just like believes these like right-wing ideas that got these people getting into his circle, and he's just repeating basically verbatim right-wing beliefs that are espoused by a number of people in right-wing media. I mean, that's the easiest explanation. Before we get into this mess, have you seen this beautiful moment? Let me see this. For you, Dimitri, I'll put this on.
Just two things to say.
أعتذر عن عدم إجادة اللغة العربية. أقول أن كرة القدم ستعود إلى وطنها وإلى موطنها. وثانيا فلسطين حرة.
That's great. It's been one of the highlights of the World Cup has been these like people, all the different clips of people going around being like, "Hey, I'm from Israel," and having everyone just be like, "Ugh, get out of here." Okay, so yeah, what I was saying about Kanye though, it's like that's even if this was some extent, I don't believe this is true. Even if it was some kind of extended performance art piece, you're still doing more harm than good. You are by platforming these kinds of ideas. There's something very funny about this though. I didn't see what Kanye said about CP3. No, I didn't. No, I did not. it is a bit rich that all the mainstream right-wing free speech warriors have to go like, no, sir, not like that. I mean, there is something funny that's happening. I don't think it is intentional. I don't think it is intentional on his part. Like maybe there's a small chance that it is. I don't really think so, but it definitely is funny. It's definitely having that effect anyways. All these like free speech warriors, all these like ultimate free speech guys now are acting like SJWs because they're inviting their new best friend, their new cash cow, Kanye West, onto their programs, and they have to be like, well, how dare you, sir? They have to sound like liberals compared to him. Because a lot of the time, like people have been pointing out, a lot of these right-wing commenters have just mastered the walking this line between suggesting or like giving red meat to these kind of like fascists or anti-Semites, or going right up to the edge of espousing these ideas, while then like knowing exactly how to kind of couch that in certain language, so you give with certain dog whistles. So there is something, regardless of whether it's performance art or not. I don't think that it is. Perhaps that's still a possibility. I don't really think so, but it is very funny that Kanye is going on all these programs and just saying the things that a lot of these people and their audiences believe, and just openly saying it without the dog whistles, without any of that stuff, and just openly saying this stuff, and have these people that are just so used to being able to stoke these fires and appeal to these communities just be like, like the right wing host, certainly I'll be able to guide this conversation with enough nuance and dog whistles that I can only benefit from having A on. Then he's just like, I love Hitler. Yeah. As they repeatedly give him an out. As they repeatedly try to give him an out. Right? They're like, you don't like literally love Hitler though. Like you're just being persecuted for your free speech. And he's like, no, I do. I do love Hitler. And they're like, and you see, anytime you look at one of these chats, like whether it's on Tim Pool, we can watch that clip the other day. You can watch it on Tim Pool, InfoWars. And when you look at what the audiences are saying, they're like, yeah, he's right. He's saying good things. Like, why are you getting mad at him? All of Tim Pool's fan base, centrist liberal Tim Pool, his whole fan base was like, L Tim, this is an L, as he's saying like, maybe we should like tone down on some of this stuff. And even after that, he was still like, I think he might win the presidency. Even after that, Tim Pool was still saying that. It was fucking amazing. This tweet is wild, by the way. Oh, fuck. Sorry.
Alert.
Sorry. Where is it? It's in the... I lost it. Yeah. I got this guy with Kim. Good night. Wow. Anyway, let's see. There's a bunch of clips of this. Is there more? Yeah, okay, there's more here. So that regardless of whether any of this is intentional or not, again, I don't want to give any credence to this idea that like, oh no, it's okay that he's doing this because it's all for some grander artistic purpose. You know, I don't really think that's true. I do think it's possible that it is. I do think there's a small chance that there is some element of that's true, but I don't think it's true. And even if it was true, you're still doing incredible amounts of harm espousing these kind of ideas. Elevating someone like Nick Fuentes, like another open fascist, an open Nazi, elevating him, like literally hanging out with the A-list celebrity, household name celebrity, elevating Nick Fuentes. Even if you're doing that as some kind of like artistic bit, you're still doing something incredibly harmful.
That's right. You're not Hitler. You're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called that and demonized.
Well, I see good things about Hitler also. I love everyone, and Jewish people are not going to tell me you can love, us, and you can love what we're doing to you with the contracts, and you can love what we're pushing with the pornography. But this guy that invented highways, invented the very microphone that I use as a musician.
is this American History X TOS? I don't know. It's just a fictional movie. It's just a fictional. It's not real. It's not real violence.
You can't say out loud that this person ever did anything good, and I'm done with that. I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
That's right.
Oh, why is he wearing a mask? I don't know. It's like a part of his whole thing. That last one really hits. That's really something. That was really, especially Hitler. Yeah, that's it. And base junkie, like whether it is it's part mental breakdown, whether if it's some kind of avant-garde art piece. I don't really believe that, but I don't want to rule it out either. Regardless, it is still anti-Semitism, and it is still incredibly fucked up to platform these ideas, and platforms individuals like Nick Fuentes or Alex Jones. Not that he really needs Kanye, but under no circumstances do you have to hand it to Hitler.
You can count on me.
I don't believe it's true.
Rob to talk you through all this.
If every human being has value, then why is one that killed 7 million people as good as someone who didn't? That's a good question. It's a good question. I don't believe Hitler invented microphones. I believe that's not accurate. I do not believe that's an accurate claim. Thank you, Comrade Social Distancing, for the gifted sub to Base Junkie. I disagree with Mr. West on these points, as do I. Yeah. As do I. I'm probably alone here, but I really don't think Kanye even understands what he's saying, unlike everyone else. Well, I mean, I don't know, Baldwin. I don't know. I just don't know. Like he's not stupid. Like on a certain level, he understands. Obviously, his like historical understanding. I don't think if this is totally all unironic, I don't think his historical understanding is really grounded in reality. But like he understands based on what he's saying. This is really bad.
Done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
Oh, that's really not good.
Germany, do I get love then? Schwarzenegger said he loved Hitler. Do I round up Jews in Nazi Germany? Do I get love then? Schwarzenegger said he loved Hitler. They gave him an award. I'm just saying, I don't like Nazis, and I don't like what some of the mafias are doing either.
I like Hitler.
Do I round?
Oh. Oh boy. Yeah, that's no good. That is no good.
Because you don't like, oh my goodness. Just because you don't like one group doesn't mean the other. But look,
I love Jewish people, but I also love Nazis.
You know, I was seeing some like descriptions of these clips, and I was like, surely maybe it's like some of it is an exaggeration, or someone is like extrapolating what he said, but really not, though, is it? It's really not an exaggeration at all. It's just verbatim. Just verbatim. He's really just saying the words, isn't he? It was just for 3 hours. Yeah, and Jones kept trying to give him an out. You just mean that the uniforms look cool, right? You cannot describe this interview without sounding like you're pulling some bit. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. It's like I kind of thought that maybe it was just like someone was like, this is what he was suggesting. No, he's just saying the words. Jones must have said, anyway, I know you need to leave for the airport about 20 times. I hit the laugh after this. Hit play. Okay.
Because you don't like one group doesn't mean the other. But look,
I love Jewish people, but I also love Nazis.
Oh my God. Is this like the next step after normalizing Azov? Well, Decadune, like that is a probably a point that we should be making, right? When the entire liberal establishment across the spectrum, in Canada, the Liberal Party, the NDP, the Conservatives, in the United States, the entirety of the Democratic Party, they're all 100% on board with like funneling arms to these fascist militia groups. It's really hard to talk about this because you don't want to sound like you're defend like the reason that he's getting to all this scrutiny unfairly. It's not unfair. It is not unfair whatsoever that he's getting this level of scrutiny whatsoever. But I think it would be good if the same scrutiny was given to like the ongoing whitewashing of fascism on the global level that we're seeing right at this very moment. If the same scrutiny was given to it, not that I don't think Kanye is being unfairly targeted when he's out here doing this. That Alex Jones pause face is just fucking great. But like we're living through a time of an unprecedented normalization of fascism, right? This is kind of part, and what Kanye is doing is kind of part of it. It's not the only part though. It's one part of it, of a large process that's going on right now. And that's something that we should be alarmed by at a time when like Canada is instituting MAID to like offer the homeless and people that are living in poverty a way to like kill themselves, to have government is like medically assisted suicide to the poor and disabled, at a time when New York City's announcing that they're going to round up homeless people and mentally ill people and put them in some kind of like facility, not prison facility. At a time when we're training and arming and funding these fascist militias as proxies to fight against Russia, to preserve the Western hegemony on a global level. I think all of that should be getting scrutiny. This is definitely part of it, but it's not the only part. And yeah, like Paul Gosar thinks exactly the same thing. What he's saying, he's like outlining what a lot of people in the conservative establishment and in the conservative media establishment and their viewers and listeners all believe, right? So yeah, I think all of this is part of a large-scale normalization of fascism that is happening right now. So I think the damaging thing is, as we say, well, Kanye is, I can't believe how off the rails he is. But then while simultaneously continuing on all these other things, that is not good. Euthanizing poor people. Lexi, I'm going to show you something incredibly disturbing in 1 minute, okay? And we'll get back to this.
Oh, man. Well, I have to disagree with that. Oh, my goodness. You just...
Fuck. That's really bad. That is really bad. It's funny, though. Jones's reaction is funny. Look at this fucking commercial. Like, if you think I'm joking about euthanizing the poor and disabled, I'm not. It's not a joke. Look at this shit.
Last breaths are sacred. When I imagine my final days, I see bubbles. I see the ocean. I see music. Even now, as I seek help to end my life, there is still so much beauty. You just have to be brave enough to see it.
This is an actual like commercial. Like this is like, it's not Soylent Green, it's Quietus. It's Quietus from Children of Men. It's the Children of Men universe. We're officially at that part of the story, yeah. And again, this is a country where, and you're showing someone that's dying of a terminal illness, but there's all these stories coming out of people that are homeless, people that are disabled and poor that could live normal lives of dignity if they were given support, if they were given housing, if they were given support, would be able to live. And they're opting into this. They're being pushed into this category. You know? This is from Canada. This is not from a movie. This is real. This is real. A first-time chatter here. Are you the Canadian equivalent of Hassan? Unfortunately, not in terms of audience size and bank account size. No. I would like to be, but no. Although I have talked to Hassan on my podcast on a number of times. And my head is just a normal size. My head is just a normal-sized head as well. Also, I use my platform to stand up for the Democratic People's Republic of Korea as well, which I don't think Hassan does enough. Yeah, I'm older than Hassan is baby me. Exactly. If Hassan was like Canadian and regularly talked about how he admires the Kim family, then yeah, there would be more of a similarity. Okay. We can continue some of this clip here.
And Russia, I haven't really seen so much. In terms of Ukraine and Russia, I haven't really seen so much of that in the news. I'm, of course, pro-Putin. I'm very pro-Russia.
I am also.
Let's go. Yeah. You know, you see that this is just an extension of the United States neocon establishment, New World Order type stuff. In terms,
it's a great explanation. Great explanation, Nick.
I'm a Nazi. I'm really, because I'm not. I'm tired of hearing I'm a Nazi. I'm really, because I'm not. But I think by them falsely accusing people, some people are going to become Nazis.
I am. Now what? I am.
You're
now
what?
Now I'm a Nazi, Ari Emanuel. Isn't that like?
This is part of it too, making the Putler connection for sure. For sure. It's like, look at these people that are openly identify as Nazis and they support Putin while they're simultaneously we're arming actual Nazis. We're arming and training actual Nazis to fight Putin. Does he think he's trolling? I mean, that's the question, San Quixote. Like I said, I think the most likely explanation here is that he's an extremely wealthy celebrity who has had his brain melted by hanging out with all these weird conservatives and just repeating the things that they believe. It actually looks like Jones and Kanye did a jersey swap on their jackets. I mean, as we know, let me just find this here.
Back over to take over.
As we know Jones's true ideology. He's admitted it before.
Back over to take over. Stalin kicks them out. They come over here, and now they are the Republican Party. Hardcore Trotskyites. Hardcore. They give you the Patriot Act, everything else. I mean, we're in deep trouble. We are in deep trouble. And I only wish Stalin would have got all of them. I got to be quite honest. Trotsky, these people, that's some bold statement there.
Sometimes he gets it right, folks. Sometimes he gets it right, okay? When he's right, he's right. And here's the question as well. I want to know why so many people were predicting this. I have this question as well. Predicting this arc from Kanye. There's like at least 3 or 4 tweets from Dan KMTL, from Matt Chrisman, from this guy, Zachary Fox, who predicted this like fascist Kanye arc. Like, why was this so predictable? I really don't get this. Endgame for edgelords is Nazism. I guess that's part of it as well. Couldn't Kanye just become a cool edgelord and be a Stalinist like us cool edgelords, right? That would be cool. Imagine if Kanye was making that case like Alex Jones just was. I would support that. Rob is like Hassan except better at hooping. That's right. I certainly wouldn't have my ankles broken by Dave Rubin, that's for sure. Which is a real thing that happened. Dave Rubin crossed up Hassan. October 11th. Okay, so this is after he visited. This is when he started the MAGA arc. Okay. I guess that makes a little bit more sense. Was really shocked to hear that the words "I love Hitler" going around on Twitter was definitely not hyperbole. No, me too, actually. Again, I avoided watching all these clips, but he really did say that, though. I mean, I don't think I can watch 3 hours of this. This is the Alejandra Caraballo says, this is the real danger of Kanye's pushing the Overton window on acceptable discourse. The people who have been saying this stuff in a coded way are now feeling emboldened to outright say their anti-Semitic beliefs. Here's our friend Steven Crowder.
Yeah, I think
dumb fuck Steven Crowder, as he's affectionately known around here. Failed comedian, loser, and also Canadian Steven Crowder. Can we actually make dumb fuck Steven Crowder a thing? I think that's a good name for him.
I don't think he hates Jewish people. I think he's been wronged, and I think that he's aiming.
He's literally out there saying,
"You can count
like,
on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this."
I do not like Jewish people.
Comrades, he is a totally evil dumbass.
He doesn't hate Jewish people. He's literally out there saying it.
Sometimes a howitzer. He's being imprecise.
Right.
Yes, but he's not wrong about everything. Look, is there a conversation to be had?
Oh, fucking Christ. And we're saying, like, even if this is some elaborate performance art piece, I don't think it is, but even if it was, this is the result it's having. Like, look at what fucking Nazis are saying about this, and look at what people like Steven Crowder, who believe all the same shit, but are used to talking in these dog whistles and code words. Look how they're responding to it. Acceptable discourse on Twitter was not pushed by Kanye. It was pushed by Elon, and Tim Pool literally blamed murder victims for a mass shooting last week. That's another point as well, Lamport. I think Kanye is like out there saying the most extreme stuff, but it's part of a larger trend. It's not just about Kanye West, right? There's been the last year or even longer, right, of the right wing saying what any study of racism, any discussion of racism is critical race theory. Any discussion of LGBTQ issues, especially with kids, is like grooming. LGBTQ people are like pedophiles, saying all this. Like, this has been like common acceptable right-wing discourse over the last couple of years. He doesn't hate them. They've just wronged him. Yeah, there we go. Good. We've already seen that a huge number of people don't know nothing or know wrong things about World War II. Yes, we have seen that, Sean. Yes, we have.
About secular humanists with Jewish last names in Hollywood exploiting people in positions of, the performance arts talent. Yeah. And by the way, that happens in the conservative movement too, behind the scenes. Yeah. People sign contracts where they don't know what they're signing. Yeah, it's true. Is there a disproportional?
And who's doing that, Steven? Is it really? They're signing contracts, and who's pulling all the strings behind that? That's kind of interesting. Jesus Christ. Kanye is definitely being used by the fascist right more than the other way around. Yeah, absolutely, Baldwin. Like, absolutely.
Proportionate number of people with Jewish last names in higher banking. That's an argument that can be made.
Oh, that's an argument.
I don't think he hates Jewish people. I think
See, this is like they're so used to talking in these dog whistles, and now they've got their new friend out there just being like, I think Nazis are great. This timeline sucks and all, but at least the stuff I didn't like in high school is finally unliked by more people. Harry Potter, Kanye. I would rather have unpopular opinions than Nazis. I am thankful that I'm not someone, and I know I have plenty of friends that have Kanye as such a big part of their like artistic, education, their music taste and stuff. Like there's people that have listened to his music for so long. I've never really been a huge fan, so I don't feel the sense of like betrayal that I think other people are experiencing. Yeah, once the economy collapses, these people are going to go wild for sure.
And then I've said it, the most Nazi-like activities I've seen, and the Nazis, in my view, were thugs that shook people down, did a lot of really bad things.
But they did good things too. We're going to stop dissing the Nazis all the time.
Okay, we're going to get to that. You get.
Yeah, I did see the swastika campaign logo. Yes, I did. One of the last things he tweeted, I guess, before he got suspended again from Twitter. Another amazing thing, exposing Musk, right? Exposing Elon and the whole thing about free speech. We're bringing back all these free speech accounts. And it's just exposing exactly what free speech constitutes for these people and shows that Elon's whole idea of free speech is just fucking preposterous and nonsense in the first place. I recently learned that Hitler invented microphones. Yeah, I do not believe that's true. Do not believe that's true.
It's about Jews? Do you think Clockwork Orange is about Jews?
Absolutely. Look at it.
I thought it was about a collapsing... Stanley Kubrick was a Jew.
Oh, wow.
I know his daughter. He was a great guy.
Yeah.
God, it's so absurd. It is so absurd. I don't know how many more clips of this I have to look at.
Because I'm not.
Like there was like 3 hours of this.
You guys, I don't use the word as the way I guess you guys use. I'm talking about.
It is them though, isn't it? I mean, because because when you think about it, consider it. In 2018.
What do you mean it's not?
What do I mean?
And it's like, Tim, yeah, this is what happens when you invite fucking Nick Fuentes onto your show, Tim. This is your fucking audience, Tim. They all believe this. They all believe this shit. And he's like, what? How could you say that? It's like, yeah, they all believe this shit. Why do you have these people on your show in the first place, motherfucker?
Like, okay, so how about, are you leaving?
Are you afraid of the press?
He's gone. I'll say it right now. You guys want to bring that stuff up? And then think we're not going to have a conversation?
Have the discussion.
Like you think he's going to come in here and say, here's my pain, here's my suffering. I'm going to say, I hear you. And then he's going to say, and it was Jewish people. And I'm going to be like, okay, but don't you consider it? So I'm not going to do this. I refuse.
Go, make sure he's cool.
All right, go for it.
And fucking Milo and all these people, or he's bringing them back. God, it's so fucking depressing. Tim was like, we're here to drink and nod and chase clout, right? Exactly. What the fuck did you think was going to happen? And again, Tim Pool has been playing. This shit did not start with Kanye. Tim Pool has been meeting with these white supremacists, including Milo, for like years, right? But going back to like 2018. I believe Tim Pool blocked me on Twitter because I posted a picture of him hanging out with these white supremacists in like 2018. This is not new. This is the amazing thing that Kanye is saying these things now. And they're saying, what? Oh, how can you say that? They've been all hanging out with people that believe this shit now for like years. They help This is one of the very bizarre things about this for me. Like, have we forgot about the whole alt-right movement? Remember the 2016? Literally 2016, 8 fucking years ago, the alt-right? That was what it was about. Charlottesville, the normalization of fascism and these white supremacists, this is what they believe. This shit has been going on for fucking years now. It's not just Kanye doing this now in 2022. Milo is doing this. Tim Pool is hanging out with these people. This is what they all believe. This was going on years ago. It's really bizarre. I think the infuriating part of this is and this is where, and that's not defending Kanye, right? But that's like, let's point out that this is not a new phenomenon. Oh my God, can you believe he's normalizing fascism like this? This has been fucking going on since 2016. It's so crazy that these right-wing psychos are coming back from the dead. It's like when Avengers came back in Endgame. It is like fucking Nazi Endgame. It's so fucking annoying. These like completely marginalized freaks that Milo lost his platform. None of these guys are being paid attention to. They're all coming back. It's so depressing. It's weird because Tim used to be on the left and was very active in Occupy Wall Street. I think that, to me, that's an example, Lexi, of like when we call a left and we allow these people with these kind of like disparate views to be part of that's not backed up with any kind of theory. The libertarians, the anarchists, that's why they go in that libertarian or anarchist or Trotskyist to conservative pipeline, because they don't have the theory to back it up. Yeah. I think the most infuriating part in this is people like Trudeau doing Holocaust revisionism, then turning around and being like, where did all these Holocaust deniers come from? That's what I was talking about too, Ben. Like, I think we can and should talk about how alarming it is and how much of an escalation it is when like this A-list celebrity is saying like, I think Hitler is good. I think the Nazis are good. But I think we should view that in the broader context in the normalization of fascism and not say that this is some like weird outlier that's just happening now. Right? When our government is like our liberal government, our liberal establishment is repeating Nazi propaganda and is arming and training and funding Nazi and fascist proxies to fight Russia, we can't just say like, oh, look at Kanye. Kanye is so anti-Semitic. It's like, no, this is a broader problem. And it's very strange to me, again, ignoring the context of the alt-right in 2015 and 2016 and onward. That is very strange to me. Who Tim Pool himself was a part of. And now he's saying, well, my word, you can't say that. You can't say that. Like, he's literally been hanging out with people years ago. Years ago, has been hanging out with people that believe all this exact same shit. Like, when was this? Like, who's that? Who's that in the little beanie there? Who's that in the little beanie? Why, there's Tim Pool, objective centrist journalist hanging out with like Chuck Johnson and Baked Alaska and all these motherfuckers years ago. This was 2017 this came out. And Tim Pool now is saying like, what on earth? How does my audience believe in this kind of stuff? I don't know if you saw the screenshots of Tim's audience when this stuff with Kanye was going on. His whole audience was going like, yeah, he's right, Tim. Like, this is what his fucking audience believes in. No wonder they believe that. He's been courting this audience. This is how he built a platform. Yeah, and look at that. Look at that. I was right. Tim Pool, centrist, liberal, free speech defender, Tim Pool. This is one of the only tweets that I've ever tweeted at him. One of the only things that I've ever tweeted to Tim Pool was immediately blocked. Immediately blocked by Tim for tweeting this exact picture at him in 2018. Again, this is when I start to feel insane. When I'm like, we've been talking about this now for 5-6 years. And now Tim Pool gets the benefit of the doubt. Now Tim Pool's saying like, well, my word, Kanye, how can you say these things on my program? Kanye West is just going on Tim Pool and InfoWars and Twitter.com and saying the things that these people all already believe, both them and their audiences. And that's why they're squirming like that, because they're so used to being able to get the benefit of the doubt from people. And they're so used to do this game where it's, oh, of course I don't believe in any of this stuff. Oh, this symbol, oh, this is just, it means it okay. What are you getting so mad about? It's just a reference to Trump. It just means okay. It's just a weird coincidence that all these alt-right white supremacists just started doing this signal to each other at the same time to own the libs. All these exact people who believe the same thing. We're all just hanging out together. And now 5 years later, he's still getting the benefit of the doubt. That is the entertaining thing about what's happening with Kanye. It's very harmful, very alarming what he's saying, especially with the platform that he has, because he's exposing the ideas of these freaks to like millions of people that otherwise probably wouldn't be looking into it. But again, this was Tim Pool in 2018. This is the kind of shit that Tim Pool has built a platform on. Let's not have conversations in lunch with fascists and neo-Nazis, shall we? Well, that's right, Hilda Beast, because that's what these people think, right? That's what free speech is. Free speech is when we hang out with these fucking fascists and white supremacists. And we want to support their views and make sure their views are heard. But also I think that we should be purging the other side. And of course, when people on the left talk about like trans rights, when they talk about immigrants or refugees, when they talk about racial justice, social justice, that's pushing me too far. All this woke stuff just pushes me too far. But when these like white supremacist neo-fascists that we hang out with and court, when they go shoot up a synagogue or a Walmart or a mosque, that's not going too far, by the way. That's not too far. It's too far when we talk a little bit about systemic racism, when we talk about the police, the institution of the police. That's really too far. All the trans rights stuff, protecting trans kids, not wanting to put trans kids in fucking conversion therapy or whatever. That's too far. That pushes me to the right. That pushes me into the embrace of the right. All the mass shootings, the mass pogroms against immigrants and black people and Muslims and Jewish people and whoever else, that's okay. That's fine. That's not too far. Yeah, Brittany Sellner, formerly Pettibone, on the left of the picture there, and she was the one that tweeted the picture. Married to former leader of Identity Europa, Martin Sellner, a huge neo-Nazi org, not just online clout Nazis there, really connected ones too. Remembering pronouns is really hard, but ignoring these atrocities just requires nothing from me. I guess that's one of the things that's frustrating me a little bit about what's going on right now. And this pretending that like the views that Kanye West is espousing are like out of bounds or whatever. And I agree that they are out of bounds, but this is what all these people believe in. Tim Pool built his whole platform on this type of shit. Tim Pool doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. And let me see if I can find the chat. Let me see if I can find Tim Pool's chat. Yeah. Our friend Matt Leck is on it. Here's when Kanye is on Tim Pool's show saying this kind of shit. Here's Tim Pool's chat. Big L. I'm sure he wouldn't say that to Andy No about Antifa. L Tim. L Tim. L Tim. L Tim. L. Mega Tim L. This is his whole audience. Does Tim Pool ever maybe look around and wonder about how he affords this big compound? How he affords all this bullshit, how he can afford to like hire producers and band people for musicians for his like vanity post-hardcore project. And my EP is better than Tim Pool's, by the way, just so we're clear on that. Which I did entirely in my own apartment without enlisting any producers or anybody like that. Does Tim ever sit around and wonder why that is? How he's able to afford all these things? Who are all these people giving the super chats? And promote and like boosting him to the top of the YouTube algorithm. Give me a fucking break, Tim. No one should let Tim Pool pretend that he's above this shit. No one should allow him to get away with that. Like, Tim, you can block me, you can block whoever else that points this out. This is how Tim Pool built a whole platform. Tim's fans found that missing drain full of Nazi gold and using it on super chats.
These things, and then immediately start getting involved with Fuentes, that only amplifies the accusations made against them. But I guess if they genuinely believe these things, that's who they are.
I was dying to interrupt. I was dying to say a whole bunch of stuff during his...
If they genuinely believe these things, this is your fucking audience believes these things. Look.
His conversation, I respectively, didn't. I was waiting to counter back, but we didn't even push back at all. Really, we didn't even really say anything crazy out there. I mean, come on, like we should at least have the tough conversations. We should debate these ideas.
What does he think's going on?
And I don't know, but I just wish people were, again, like, hey, you don't agree with me 100%? That's fine. That's okay. I'm not going to run away. like, come on, let's have this discussion. Let's have this conversation. I really wanted to talk about Balenciaga. I really wanted to talk about Harley Pasternak. I really wanted to talk about Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle talked about, a lot of the things that Ye was warning about, specifically with people trying to drug him, specifically with people trying to, of course, get him on big pharma medicines. He was, again, sent to, he was institutionalized a couple years ago, specifically on November 21st, 2016. He's pointing a lot of this blame on this Harley Pasternak guy who, again, he's the one who's training Lizzo, Elliot Page. He was training Brittany Murphy. He trained a lot of controversial figures, and he is connected to Canadian military psyops. That's we should know what else is happening behind the scenes there, what else he knows. But before the show, we can't even get that.
Before the show, Ye was like, this was funny. He's like, how do I become president? How do you win? And I thought it was a rhetorical question because, like, why would I?
By the way, worth pointing out as well, Tim Pool the next day said, I think Kanye might win the presidency. Literally the next day.
I know that question. And he was like, hey, man, I asked you a question.
And listen, there's a $10 super chat. Why is it whenever someone dares to point a finger at Jews for anything, everyone acts like a chip activated and you must defend them and denounce anyone who dares question Jewish authority? There's your audience, Tim. There's your audience that you've carefully cultivated over the years.
What do you think? And I was like, ballot harvesting, like, hands down. You go door to door. He brought it up when he mentioned that I said that he would do well with the black vote. I feel like that's kind of oversimplifying what I said. What I said was that he's a celebrity. He's a personable character. He appeals to regular people more so. If he knocked on a door and you said Trump, Biden, yay, they'd be like, yay. But I do think that he would do. I do think he would do better with the black vote, simply because there's people who look up to him because they can see themselves in him.
God, I must admit, folks, part of it is like all the things that I'm saying about Tim Pool, I 100% believe in. I must admit, it's very frustrating to me that Tim Pool has this massive platform. I just find him, just in addition to all the ways that I find him like detestable as a person for building his audience like this, in the way that I'm describing, I just find him so fucking boring, not interesting, not entertaining. Like, I genuinely don't understand why this is popular. I do to a certain extent because I understand he's courted these right-wing audiences and he normalizes this kind of right-wing rhetoric that he's now trying to distance himself from. I know that's part of it, but like, I must admit, it's very frustrating that this is so popular. Like, it's fucking annoying. I must admit. And here I am, and I'm happy to be doing it, folks. Here I am, day in, day out, sweating up a storm in the content mines with my correct ideas and my correct analysis, giving people the good ideas. The setup keeps me humble. I guess that's true. I guess you don't want me getting too big of a head there. That's true. The decor, you a worthless gun and a guitar he sucks at. It's so bad. Everything about it is so bad. Like, I feel like someone's pranking me sometimes with this shit.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Meanwhile, the sock Dems attempt to fuck over the rail workers. That's right. That's what we have. That's our left. Our strike breaking social democrat lawmakers. Very good stuff. Or our like Nazi propaganda espousing social democrats here in Canada. Thank you for the gifted sub to Baldwin, Comrade Social Distancing. Thank you. Anyway, it's perplexing to me. It is perplexing to me. And that's a good point. HTA Chomsky's point about corporate media applies to Tim Pool too. He wouldn't be there if he didn't believe what he believes. That is absolutely true.
Him. Now, let me elaborate. That's actually more of a leftist position, this woke position, because I don't completely disagree with every component of what diversity is. I think that it's true that if you're a little kid growing up in this country and you're not white, but all you ever see on billboards and all you ever see on TV is white people, that means something, that has an effect on you. And that's basically what I'm getting to. All I can really say is this. Bro, if I can't ask you questions, call me like, hey, but don't you think this is like localizing? He could have been like, I don't, I genuinely view it this way. And I'd have said, well, okay, I can only ask you the question. You're allowed to believe what you want to believe. But dude, like, what did I ask him? Like 3 questions about it? And he just got up and left. Like, he's going to come here and just talk and be uninterrupted. Before we started the show, he said, hey, we're doing this show. Why don't we do it every week? Yeah. And I'm like, what is this? Is because you can't get on any other shows? I'm sorry, bro. This is not a show where you come in and talk by yourself and say whatever you want and say things that are...
Yes, it is. But yes, it is, though. That's the thing. Yes, it absolutely... Whenever Tim Pool has any of these right-wing freaks on his show, it is exactly that show. He's not pushing back on any of that shit. Are you kidding me? He's only pushing back on it when they say the quiet part out loud. When you stop using the dog whistles, that's when you push. Then was when Tim Pool, brave journalist Tim Pool, that's when he decides to push back on these things. But if he's going to have on like whatever other far right-wing freak, he doesn't push back. Jacobin saying progressives in Congress should be commended and not denounced. Oh, God, Jacobin, I don't know what to do. I got an email from my local DSA chapter today that was 1,000,000 times better on the rail worker issue than CPUSA. Fuck. I don't know. I do not buy this bullshit from Tim Pool. Fucking ridiculous. You just can't come on and say that and not get a pushback. With everything that Kanye has said over the last couple of weeks, Tim Pool was more than happy to have him on his show. More than happy. And as I'm saying, it's worth pointing out where Tim Pool's whole audience, as you can see them rebelling in the chat, and you can see it happening live. His whole audience has been courted by this, by associating with the alt-right movement, which was an open, like a fun, youthful, memeing white supremacist movement. That's what it was. That's what it always was. That's what it was in 2015, 2016. That's what it was in 2018. I know after Charlottesville, people like Tim and like Ben Shapiro had to pretend that they never had anything to do with the alt-right. Remember that whole thing? No, of course, I never supported the alt-right, even though these motherfuckers were more than happy. They were more than happy to play footsie with the alt-right and to promote these viewpoints and promote the people that were part of it. And then as soon as it turns into someone they actually murder someone, one of these open fascists that you've been courting actually goes out and acts on these ideas. They say, oh, no, I never had anything to do with that. Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit. Yeah, that's why he kept defending him. Exactly. And then he immediately defends him. And then the next day, he's literally like, he still might be president. He's still, the next day, even after that. again, it's worth pointing out as well. The problem is not, it does become, I think, problematic when we point to like just Kanye West as being the problem here. When like, again, YouTube has made millions of dollars off of Tim Pool, and he makes a multi-million dollar salary off of YouTube. YouTube is, these big tech companies have been openly profiting from this kind of stuff for a while. Just like Amazon was profiting from displaying and streaming that anti-Semitic documentary that Kyrie Irving shared that caused the big controversy with Kyrie Irving. Like, that's still, the Amazon Corporation is hosting that content and profiting from it. But the anger goes towards Kyrie Irving. The anger goes towards Kanye. And people like Tim Pool or the big tech companies that have been profiting off of this exact kind of rhetoric now for years are not part of the anger, not part of the popular outrage. Like, again, this is Tim Pool. We talked about this on the show, but this was after a mass shooting that targeted gay and trans people. Describes it as holding a grooming event, the club where this mass shooting took place. And now he's Mr. like centrist? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm trying to find the tweet of when he says that it's still after Kanye could be president. Where's that tweet? This is the next day.
God is saying, you know, your children are going to be okay. Baby mama's got money, right? God is using me. He's breaking me down, removing all of the, richest person, all of this, so I can serve him. And the more and more those things are taken away from me, the more I can be empty and be a vessel and be able to be used. And right now, it's like, you're not going to take, if we can't, you're not going to take my pain.
Vlad, I can't look at the tweet because I'm blocked.
Away, right? The Jewish people say, it's the Holocaust, this happened, and you can't say anything about it. We can't take their pain away. No one's going to denounce the fact that they tried to lock me up. That's what, because every time I'm just holding stride, and it's like, I thought I was more Malcolm X, but I find out I'm more MLK, because as I'm getting hosed down every day by the press and financially, I'm just standing there. And when I found out that they tried to put me in jail, it was like a dog was biting my arm, and I almost shed a tear. Almost.
But not a real dog.
But I still walked in stride.
Metaphorical.
Yeah.
I think they've been extremely unfair to you.
Who is they though? We can't say who they is,
corporate
can we?
press. I'm not using I don't use the word as the way I guess you guys use. I'm talking about.
It is them though, isn't it? I mean, because because when you think about it, consider it. In 2018.
What do you mean it's not?
What do I mean? Like, okay, so how about? Are you leaving?
Jesus Christ. So that was the whole context of that clip, which I hadn't seen either. But again, Tim is platforming Nick Fuentes. Like, this is the kind of shit Nick Fuentes has been saying. This is Tim's audience. This is the people that he's platforming. But then this is too much. This is too much, though. And literally the next day, even after he defends him, because I'm sure he sees the chat, he sees the super chats drying up. Literally the next day, I think Ye could actually win the presidency. Until he goes on InfoWars and says, I think Hitler is good. He explicitly says that. It's literally the next day. He walked out because Tim refused to say the Jews. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like with all these talk shows, it's literally just they're used to dealing with the dog whistles. And they talk to people, even though Nick Fuentes doesn't even use the dog whistles, who Tim Pool is still happy to have on his show. But they're used to having people on that are going to use the right words, use the language, use the dog whistles, use the rhetoric, so they push right up to that line and then pull back. And that's the only difference between Kanye right now, is that he's going way beyond that line. But again, this is Tim Pool's audience. This is the right-wing audience. They all believe this shit. These clips, I've been avoiding looking at these clips, and they really are quite crazy. YouTube is the leading extreme right conspiracy distributor for years. Only Facebook and now Twitter gets in the spotlight, never YouTube. They shove recommended climate change denial videos to people for years. Well, yeah, that's the whole alt-right pipeline. Like, that's one of the things that, I've been talking about that for years now. How the people got... The YouTube algorithm was literally like leading people down this path, and Tim Pool is a central part. Tim Pool is a central part because he's the one, he rises up to the mainstream. He gets those mainstream algorithm recommendations. And you look at a few Tim Pool clips, you look at a few Rogan clips, then you get to Shapiro, then you get to Steven Crowder, then you get to the Milos, then you get to the conspiracy shit, then you get to the QAnon, then you get to the JQ stuff. I mean, it's all... And Tim Pool is one of the people that leads people down that path. Maybe Rogan is the ultimate one, because Rogan is the one that's like more mainstream out of anybody. Most popular podcast. But YouTube has been benefiting from that and profiting from it for years. All I ever get recommended on video is Frozen Rat videos. I think I saw in the Discord server, Dave, that there was some speculation that you were possibly a snake. I don't think that was ever confirmed or denied. We did confirm that. Okay. We did confirm it. Okay, good. I don't know, folks. These clips really are crazy. I mean, we could probably watch these clips all day. I don't really have much energy for much more. I have about an hour left in the show. But I would like to push back on this fucking bullshit idea that Tim Pool is somehow above this. And I do feel like there's this mass amnesia going on, seriously, where we've just forgotten about from 2015 to 2021 and the rise of the alt-right and Charlottesville. And, this is like Ben Shapiro. As much as Ben Shapiro says like, oh no, how dare he say things like that? This is most of what Ben Shapiro's audience believes, right? They still listen to Ben. They tolerate Ben because he says the things, he gives them cover for their beliefs. But Ben Shapiro pretending that he's above that as well. Sorry, he's not. This is what his audience believes as well. There's been a whole right-wing media establishment that's been built over the last 8-10 years that is based on these kind of dog whistles. So we could do more news in a bit. I'd like to talk about the strikes, the rail strikes and everything. I do encourage people, though, because again, I'm not Tim Pool. I'm not like Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro, these people. They've all got the big dark money billionaire backing, right? To get them off their feet. I have nothing. I would love to find a weird multi-million. Imagine if I could find some weird self-obsessed celebrity Stalinist multimillionaire that started liking my content. That would be great. I would love that. I have yet to find that though. I have no one. I have no oil barons or fracking billionaires or
you can count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I don't believe any of you are those people anyways. All I have is the generosity of this community, such as John McCain's Ghost. Thank you, John, so much for the gifted sub. So if you do support this content and you want to support the work that I do, trying to share the correct ideas with people rather than the incorrect ideas, and giving the good analysis rather than the bad analysis, which is what's popular. If you do support that and you like this content, one thing that you can do is subscribe to this channel and join the community. So whether you're if you're a non-subscriber, a lurker, or whoever, you can subscribe to the channel for $5 per month. Get all the wonderful emotes, some of the best emotes on the entire platform of Twitch. In my opinion, the best community in the entire platform of Twitch. You can subscribe. You can use your Prime sub to subscribe absolutely free of charge. You can gift subscriptions to move up and down in the two-dimensional friendship access and clout distribution system. Two-dimensional triangular.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old system. Rob to talk you through all this.
And every donation is very, very, this is how I'm able to continue doing this show. If people don't subscribe, the content doesn't exist. It only exists because of the endless, boundless generosity of this wonderful community. Very, very important that it's two-dimensional. Exactly. When I was streaming for the first time and saw that yellow parenti emote, I knew we were doing something right. What's your schedule, Johnny? I still haven't gotten a chance to catch you. But what's your schedule? And again, Subversive History is a channel that people should be following. Thank you, Dave, as well. Thank you, Dave, for the gifted sub as well. Very much appreciated. Thank you. Sundays and Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Man, it's getting kind of heated talking about Tim Pool. I just got to take another few minutes. I'm going to try and see if we can get closer to the sub goal before moving on. We want to invite you on at some point. I'd be happy to, Johnny. Would be happy to. I'm going to see if I can get closer to the sub goal before moving on. We got another couple of interesting things to talk about. Another couple saved tweets. I want to talk more about the rail strike. Fucking Tim Pool. We can look at those Boots Riley tweets. Yeah, I would love to. I would absolutely love to.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Thank you, Proletariat. Proletariat, thank you for the gifted sub. Let's see if we can get a couple more, folks. Let's see if we can hit 20. Let's see if we can hit 20 in this little segment here. I'm trying to find my special image.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
Trying to find my friendship triangle image, which is on my timeline somewhere, just so people know what they're getting into. Just so people know what they're getting into with this channel. Don't mind me. Just scrolling. Oh, Chaos the Gardener, thank you for the gifted sub. Thank you. And we are close to a hype train, folks. There is a possible hype train. Who could be the exciting, generous chatter that could trigger the hype train? Don't you want to move on? I would like to move on from this segment. I would like to move on from having to do this. I would be happy to. A couple of generous shatters could put us over the limit. And again, you can always count on me. You can always rely on me to both talk you through all this and spread and propagandize the good and correct ideas about news and politics, the economy, culture. I can hear Damon saying mere mortals over and over. I really want to find some way to sync Damon's lips. Like, there must be an AI that can do that, right? An AI that could sync Damon's lips to in this image to the ad. There must be.
History is filled with almosts, with those who almost adventured, who almost achieved, but ultimately, for them it proved to be too much.
Please subscribe, folks.
Then there are others, the ones who embrace the moment and commit. And in these moments of truth,
it's investing in yourself.
These men and women, these mere mortals,
you can count
just
on
like
me
you and me,
and have good old Rob
as
to,
they peer over the edge.
Hell yeah! Thank you so much, Alana.
They calm their minds and steel their nerves.
Brave and bold.
With 4 simple words that have been whispered by the intrepid since the time of the Romans: fortune favors the brave.
Alana, thank you so much for the 3 gifted subs. I know I'm only playing the audio because I've got to play it over the friendship triangle image, Johnny. Thank you so much, Alana. I really appreciate it. I thought of a possibly secretly Stalinist celebrity, Oliver Stone. Well, Lexi, I don't think you were part of the community then. You're a 4-month subscriber, but a couple months back, I went to see Oliver Stone live do a Q&A in Quebec City, which was quite. I don't think Sylvester Stallone's a Stalinist, but he's definitely got better views about history and foreign policy than like 99% of other people in Hollywood or other people with big platforms. I did a whole episode where I went to see Oliver Stone and I took video and I did a whole episode where I recapped all the video I did from it. It was fucking amazing. Yeah, I got one more time. I'm going to do this one more time. In case there's any holdouts here. And again, if you're watching and you're like, this is not entertaining, I don't enjoy this, guess what? I don't enjoy it either. Okay? I don't enjoy it either. All right?
History is filled with almosts.
I'm trying to help you.
With those who almost adventure.
Did I say Sylvester Stallone? Did I? Sylvester Stallone has bad views, especially since he just was one video went viral of him being racist. So I don't think he has the good views. Did I say that? Is it on YouTube? You know what? It should be, Lexi. I meant to put it in all honesty, I meant to put my did I say Sylvester Stallone? Oh no. Sylvester Stallone is not a Stalinist yet. Oh, fuck. Damn it. I'm sorry. I meant Oliver Stone. And like I said, I meant to put my Oliver Stone thing on YouTube. Maybe I still can. But I did not. But I can link the VOD though, because I did collect it as a highlight. It was a couple months ago. I will link it in the chat if you want to watch it because it was really good. Man, when I see pictures of myself with the mustache, it just makes me kind of sad. I feel like I look better now. I feel like I objectively look better. But when I see pictures of myself with the mustache, the full mustache, I must admit that it makes me a little nostalgic. When was this? When did I do this? Oh, here we go. I'll link it in the chat for you, Lexi, because I don't think you were around at this time. When I heard that this... What do you think? Who do you think I look better? Q&A was going on because we talk about the JFK assassination a lot on this show, because I think it's an interesting kind of inflection point. I still think this was a good look for me. The doctor's in, baby. Don't worry. Oh, thank you, Dr. Maggot. You missed the old stash and hair. I think, Sean, you liked it when it looked like I was letting myself go. Because it gave you a certain permission, didn't it, Sean? You're like, look at this guy. I'm sorry, Sean. I love you. All right. I'm always encouraging you, Sean. Sometimes I have to tear you down a peg as well. Okay? I'm always lifting you up and encouraging you, and it makes you feel a little too comfortable. All right? That's part of these kind of communities, these non-cult communities. I mean, when you tear someone down to nothing and you help build them back up. And people need to understand that I have the ability to do this. It says I do not have permission to view this page. Okay, that I can't understand. In my own image, that's right. That's right. Yeah, we can figure out in the Discord. It's in the throes of the pandemic. When was this even? What was the actual date on this? June 17th. Ah! Sorry, I'm back. Sorry about that. Can we do the current stash and old hair? I don't think so. I don't think so. I do kind of miss it, I must admit. I do kind of miss the stash. I think I look better, but I miss it. I must admit. Okay. So if we have no more takers, if you have no more takers,
count on me. You're gonna have good old Rob to talk you through all this. Look at that.
Well, shut my mouth. I didn't even have to stare at the camera creepily. Usually that's the kind of thing the sick individual Dr. Maggot likes me to do. Dr. Maggot, thank you for the 3 gifted subs. Very, very kind of you. Thank you. You bailed me out. You and Alana bailed me out of this segment, this pitch segment. Thank you very much, Dr. Maggot. I appreciate it. I better just plug in my phone before I continue. I'll be right back, and we'll continue doing the stream. Did I thank Neon 52 minutes ago? I can't remember. Neon Cat, though, thank you. Thank you for the resub, the 5 months resub 52 minutes ago, if I forgot to mention it at the time. Yeah, okay, I'm just going to go for one moment. Oh man, this seems interesting. I wanted to talk about the rail strikes and some crypto stuff. There's also some good stuff on breakthrough news about the China protests that maybe we could take a look at as well. good if there was just some kind of clips of that to throw on there. No stare today, but you have 20 seconds. I request you watch this clip of Hakeem Jeffries channeling infamous segregationist George Wallace. Oh, you mean new progressive hero Hakeem Jeffries? I think you're referring to. Oh shit. You're not supposed to see that. You're not supposed to see that dashboard there.
And then missiles were flying in December of 2008, and Israel prevailed. And then missiles were flying in November of 2012, and Israel prevailed. And so I'm confident that when it's all said and done, we're going to stand together. Israel today, Israel tomorrow, Israel forever. God bless you.
Great. These are the progressives. This guy's in the progressive caucus. The new speaker, the new minority leader in the House. The heading up the progressive firebrand youth wing of the Democratic Party. This is who they got in the benches. These progressive champions. These progressive champions. We call them a firebrand around here. The Breakthrough News interview with Tings about the protests was very good. Yeah, wondering whether we should do that or do I even have time? Screams into the void. Sometimes you just got a little void scream. You need a little void scream every now and then, right? You do. You need that. God, that's fucking depressing. Well, I'd like to put that on. Consider I've been talking so much. I mean, fucking... I don't know. I don't know what to do. Just give me a moment, okay? I'll be right back. I'm just going to go for a sec. You can just look at my empty chair. How about that? You can just look at my empty chair. We have to look at some of the stuff about Biden and the rail strike as well. So just don't go anywhere. Or should I do the empty chair? I'm having a moment of weakness about this.
We need a new system. We need a new society. We need to demand that which may have sounded impossible even a few weeks ago, but is not only realizable, but an imperative necessity.
Confirmed once again by the Chinese government. Let's just talk about the COVID policy, where it is right now, what its impact has been. Again, for our audience, especially for those outside the United States who might not know this, 100 million Americans, I'll say it again, 100 million Americans have gotten COVID since 2020, and more than 1 million are dead. But let's start with the Chinese government's actual policies.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to start, because one of the things about the zero COVID policy in China is it's not a one size fits all. It's not just one thing. And in fact has, I think the word dynamic in it, which indicates that it's a thing of experimentation, has actually constantly changed as the virus has changed and as the science has developed. Remembering that, in the end of 2019, when the virus first broke out, it was an unknown virus to the world. And a lot of that had to be responses quite quickly to respond to something that is historic in that truest sense. And I lived through these changes since being here in 2020. And what's interesting to see with this, and we'll get into the protests a little bit more and general responses from the people, but that China is actually going through a phase of easing its policy. Interestingly, the sort of some of the street protests that we've seen lately is coming at the heels of this situation right now. For example, 2 weeks ago, the Chinese central government announced the 20 measures, which is basically decreasing requirements on several fronts. One of them is including the international arrivals. Of course, China still has the mandatory quarantines for people who are arriving from international travel. So they've been cutting that in terms of for requirements of how many days. Now it's called the 5+3, which is 5 days in a hotel quarantine and 3 at home. But in addition to this, there's been easing in terms of the isolation time that is required for anyone who's had close contact with confirmed cases, as well as promoting vaccinations, particularly among the vulnerable groups who still have not yet gotten the full vaccinations. And what I think an important part I want to mention is this removal of mass testing as a strategy, unless it is necessary, and avoiding this what's called the excessive COVID measures. But for a country the size of China, 1.4 billion people, we always have this contradiction or this process of how to translate central government policy to local implementation.
This is some guy, Rob
And so
Russo,
this
some
easing
leftist based in Canada.
has happened
I was turned on
in
to this
varied
sick
ways
individual,
across
and
the
I found
country at the
this.
local levels. And it's also had, I think we can say that it's had a different reactions. Some local governments are a little bit hesitant to kind of move from this more rigid or more strict zero COVID policy to something that is, this process of easing is quite complicated. And we're seeing also in some cases where local officials are struggling to respond, keeping, I think, sometimes in this sort of bureaucrat's mind of being afraid to be held responsible for any new outbreaks, but at the same time getting, the orders from above to kind of move to this next phase in this dynamic zero COVID policy. But I also want to stress that this is happening in a very complicated moment. China just yesterday registered 73,000 new cases, and that means it's the biggest wave we've seen since the pandemic broke out back in 2019. So yes, there's kind of questions of people being exhausted. People, living with a pandemic for 3 years is very difficult. We have these new measures being put in place. How do you define this, ban on excessive COVID measures? You have people also at the, having disputes and disagreements with how their local residential community are interpreting some of these central government policies. So I would say that, that we're going through this period right now. It's complex, but it's not a simple, let's open up and throw out the zero COVID policy, but what the government has been calling this, finding a soft landing out of this very, very complex situation and a huge challenge. And to be honest, I don't think any other countries have really tried this, tried to kind of.
Hello, folks. Hello. Someone could have mentioned a few moments ago, they got a raid from our friends in the Majority Report. Thank you, Sam Sater. Thank you. I believe it was Matt Leck. We were looking at Matt Leck's tweet earlier. Sean Mead handled it. Okay. Someone could have mentioned, so people don't raid in here and there's nothing going on. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you for the raid. Very much appreciated. I'm Rob. Smash the follow button if you want to chat, or if you want to just follow the channel, follow the community. It'd be very much appreciated. Hello. I just left on a video about breakthrough news video about these protests in China and the COVID situation in China, which I think is really interesting and informative. I was not on the turlet, as Bleep Lord is crudely suggesting. I did briefly go pee. I did do that. But I was also eating some queso. I have some like little tiny naan breads, and I dip that in queso sometime if I want a little snack. Of course, I wash my hands. MJR keeps sending us over to this crazy leftist. I know. Someone in Majority Report. There's a subversive element in Majority Report. We're part of the pipeline. Of dangerous, subversive left-wing ideas. Sit or stand to pee? Well, I mean, for all my life, the tangy elements, that's right. I've always been a stand peer, a stand pee guy for most of my life. I must admit, lately, over the last year or two, I've started to slowly transition, a soft landing. I've started to slowly transition into more of a sit to pee guy. Not every time. Like, for instance, to this time, I want to just like get down to business quickly, you know? I don't want to just hang out. But so I am doing a transition. I'm transitioning into more of a pea sitter. But thank you again, Majority Report, for the raid. Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I would like to look at a little bit more of this clip. Oh. Now I'm over here. Okay. I would like to look at just a little bit more of this clip because I think this is an important context for anyone that's been trying to pay attention to these protests in China or want to cut through the sort of Western viewpoint of that. Obviously, whenever any protests happen in like an official enemy country, whether it's China, Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, or wherever else, there's always all kinds of spin in Western press, and we get the Western version of it, which is always presented in a very specific way. Which is never actually accurate. So that's why I appreciate the work that Breakthrough News does in breaking down the myths and facts. Let's just look at this for another few minutes. And then we can get on to talking about more stuff. I wanted to talk about these rail strikes and some more stuff before I say goodbye.
Move forward with the pandemic in this way while protecting human lives first and foremost, but also changing with the science and as the sort of experimentation of how to deal with it has, as we've been seeing in the last 3 years.
One thing that happened in the United States, Tings, was when the lockdown started, again, this was after the U.S. had forewarning that the virus was coming, members of the U.S. Congress, including leaders of the U.S. Senate, were briefed by U.S. intelligence as early as January 2020, and the U.S. started lockdowns a couple months later. 60 million people lost their jobs.
What up?
Look at that really chill guy with the 24 months of Tier 1. Thank you, really chill guy. Now, really chill guy with the exclusive, highly elite, highly sought after gold 24-month badge. It's not a piss badge. I don't know why people refer to it as that. It's gold. It's prestigious. It's supposed to be cool. Nothing to do with pee. You got the piss badge. Okay. It's a good club to be in. We're hearing it more and more. The most elite chatters that are on this channel. And by the way, if you're just joining us, I do encourage you to please subscribe to the channel, folks. If you came over from the raid, everyone just heard me do a big half an hour long pitch of that earlier. Well, now I get to hear it again. Asshole. Please subscribe to the channel like Really Chill Guy just did. The first step in becoming a 24-month subscriber and getting the elusive badge is to subscribe that first time, right? It's just to subscribe that first time. You can subscribe for $5. You can subscribe free of charge with your Twitch Prime account. You can gift subs. You can become an elite member of the community known as the Friendship Triangle. And it's all very helpful, very much appreciated on my end. And I appreciate it a lot, even though I just said that. It's another way of saying the thing that I just said. So just reminding people again that you can indeed subscribe to the channel, join the community, get the emotes. The only way this channel is able to stay on the air is through the donations and subscriptions from the audience of this program. So please keep that in mind. Let's look at a bit more of this, and then we'll talk a bit more. We can't watch this for the next hour. I just don't physically have the time. Here we go.
Jobs. 60 million people. There was then a government relief effort to try to mitigate. What happened in China? I mean, let's just draw some comparisons if we can. Obviously, China is a developing country. It's got 1.4 billion people. That's 1 out of every 4 or maybe 1 out of every 5 humans in the world is in China. So the management of a society of that size is great. But one of the things that's happened is there's been the economic outcome for lots of working folks, especially in 2020. Many people lost their homes. Right now, as the eviction moratorium is lifting, there's a prediction that there will be a wave of hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of evictions. Let's just talk about the impact on China. Obviously, it's impacted the economy, but probably in far different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an important point that you mentioned that China is still a developing country as much as it is the world's largest developing country and the second largest economy in the world. But one of the things that we see is the healthcare infrastructure. It is still very much, I think, lacking the requirements that is necessary to kind of let sort of COVID run wild, let's say.
It was very authoritarian that they didn't like us just willingly sacrifice millions of their citizens. Disgusting behavior on the part of the evil CPC to not just throw all their elderly, disabled, and immunocompromised people just into the fucking meat grinder and allow them all to get infected with this potentially dangerous illness. And just allow their healthcare workers to just be worked to the brink of fucking exhaustion. Very disturbing that they refuse to do this.
Example is comparing ICU beds between the U.S. and China, intensive care units. And from the last that I checked, we have in China about 3 beds per 100,000 citizens. In the U.S. is about 25. Which is 7 times higher than what we have in China. Not saying that, the U.S. medical system and healthcare infrastructure is adequate, but then it makes you understand sort of the state of the infrastructure. And that's one of the reasons about why some of these, let's say, more rigid measures were taken since day one when the virus appeared in Wuhan. In the lockdown that lasted, 2.5 months. And saw a pretty quick control, swift and quick control, though perhaps quite strict as a measure. But
for sure strict. But that's another thing we've been pointing out too is that you can't have a COVID zero policy. You can if you can try and add it, you can try and just destroy the whole illness, but you can't though when the entire Western world just says fuck it, we're not doing anything. So you can keep up this COVID zero policy, but there's a limited amount of time that you can continue to do this, and that people have to live through it. That's been the one of the tragedies about this is that the disease could have been eradicated if we had all had a COVID zero strategy from moment one, and not just left it up to China. Well, we just allowed things to run rampant, did not vaccinate our population adequately, did not get vaccines to the developing world, the global south, allowed all this endless permutations and variants. And then lo and behold, it's 3 years later and China is still struggling to maintain this policy. And we still criticize them. We still criticize China for trying to maintain a policy of as allowing as few people as possible to get this potentially deadly illness.
One of the reasons being is the healthcare infrastructure that is inadequate for a population of this size. So one of the things that the government has been trying to do is increase the ICU capacity and the number of hospital beds, but training the amount of doctors and medical staff necessary to staff that is going to take time. And part of this process in the last 3 years is also try to build up that capacity, build up that workforce, the actual workers to be able to manage a kind of epidemic of this level if it were to be spread. And I mean, we have to think that China is massive population. I mean, compared to the US, which is already a huge country, it's about 4.5 times the population of the US. And we've seen, I think at the last time I checked was 1.09 million deaths in the US. If just using these rough numbers to count that, we would be looking towards 5 million people dying in China.
For Westerners, that's totally okay.
Just isn't acceptable to the Chinese government.
We love to just lecture them about this. Just let these 5 million people die. What's wrong with you?
Some of these measures that have been taken is to put human life first. I mean, right now, even given China being the first country where this virus was sort of attacked, there's about just over 5,000 deaths in the last 3 years. And even in these new waves that we've been seeing, it's been very low numbers of deaths. But it requires some of these measures around the zero COVID policy to keep that at bay. At the same time, amping up vaccinations, creating the infrastructure necessary, training the adequate workforce to be able to handle this. And this is the process of finding that soft landing as the country is easing its policies around COVID.
Tings.
Okay, so this seems like a really great video. I think I highly encourage people to watch this entire thing, and I'll link it in the chat right now. We don't have time for it today. It does feel like this is a sudden reaction to the recent protests, but I'm guessing it wasn't. Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like Decadu. That's my impression, is that they've been trying to find like what she's describing as this soft landing for a while. I think they're aware that they can't keep going with zero COVID indefinitely when there's just no hope of ever containing the virus. Like people in like, I recognize as well, like we talked about, that it's no doubt difficult to live under that kind of policy. You can make arguments about what's better to live under when your government just does nothing about this and allows everyone in their society to get this illness and allows millions of people to die, versus living under zero COVID, which I'm sure isn't fun in games, but you know, which is better? I don't know. I mean, I like I was saying before, for all the talk from the anti-vaxxer crowd about how we're being experimented on with these vaccines, I feel like we've been experimented on by all being allowed to contract this deadly virus, potentially deadly virus, when we have no fucking clue what it's doing to our immune systems, what it's doing to our health long term. Are we going to have millions and millions of people that are disabled years from now as a result of this? Even people that didn't die because you contract COVID, you recover, you get better, you get multiple reinfections. We don't know what that's doing to us. You know, we have no fucking idea what it's doing to us. But we're going to find out, and our government has just decided that that's the cost of doing business. We got to keep consuming, keep going to work, and keep the line going up at all costs. And I'm not going to sit here and say that that's a better strategy than the zero COVID strategy, regardless of how difficult it was to live under that, with the lockdowns and the ways that they've dealt with that. I'm not going to sit here and say that our strategy of letting millions of people get infected and letting millions of people die was better. I'm not going to do that. Profit over people is the American way. That's right. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that's exactly why I think, as much as people like, even on the left, like to criticize China, saying, well, China's just capitalist. Why would you support them? They're just a capitalist country. When obviously they have used capitalism as a mode of production and know to develop their society very rapidly. I don't think anyone would dispute that. I think the very fact that they've made these decisions over the last 3 years of this pandemic to put the health of people before their economic growth, or at least suggested that they can fight COVID while continuing to grow their economy, indicates that even if you want to describe it as capitalist, it's not capitalist like we are, right? It's something different. It's something very different, and we shouldn't pretend that it's just the same thing. Okay, I only got about another 20 minutes. I mean, we can look at another couple clips. I did just want to brief, because it's the interlude. I just did want to brief mention there's some chit-chat points that I forgot to mention earlier. One is that last night I accidentally got sucked into one of these. I started reading one of these Jack Reacher novels, which I had in my library for a while. Someone had given it to me a while back, and I just never read it. And I just was like charging my phone. I was like, I'll just read a couple pages of that. And then I ended up reading like 200 fucking pages of it, because it's one of these like page-turning airport novels. But I must say that I do kind of enjoy the Jack Reacher novels. I'm just getting into it now, but I do kind of enjoy it. I do recommend it. It's kind of just like a turn your brain off. It's like the book equivalent of like a popcorn flick. I also liked the Amazon series. You got to try and get on Reacher Roundtable. What's Reacher? Is that like a Reacher podcast, Sandwiches? I like this is the thing. The Tom Cruise Reacher movie was like all right, but I think a central element of the Reacher character is that he's a big boy. I don't think you can do Reacher that's not a non-big boy character. Otherwise, it's just kind of a generic, cool action movie guy, right? He's got to be a big lad. That's what the Amazon series got right. Huge fan of the CIA. Well, in this book that I'm reading right now, Commissar Dembo, it seems like the CIA is possibly some kind of antagonist. Reacher's a unemployed former army cop who travels the country, hitchhiking across the country. He's like a drifter. And yeah, it is ultimately it's pro-America, pro-security state propaganda. But I've enjoyed plenty of pro-America, pro-security state propaganda as long as you recognize that that's what it is. That's all. Just recognize that's what it is. You know what else I love? 24. I love 24. Jack Bauer. Big fan of 24. It's horrible. Politically horrible. It's basically fascist propaganda, but it's enjoyable. It's entertaining. So enjoy Jack Reacher. Enjoy Jack Bauer. All the various Jacks. Jack Traven, who is Keanu Reeves' character in Speed. You can enjoy that all you want, which is very much pro LAPD propaganda. LAPD, one of the worst violent gangs, organized violent thugs in all of the United States. You enjoy that stuff, but you also just have to recognize how it's harmful at the same time as you're enjoying it. I used to love Chuck Norris Delta Force. I remember really enjoying Delta Force 2. Hang on one second. Excuse me. I remember watching Delta Force 2. I never saw the first one, which I think was with Charles Bronson. It was with Norris and Charles Bronson. Delta Force 2 is very entertaining. Although I was always more of a Seagal man than a Chuck Norris man. The other pop culture chit-chat point that I wanted to mention was that I finally saw the film Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I wanted to get the community feedback on that. Because I think a lot of people were recommending that to me, and I kind of liked it. And I also kind of did not. I think it was a film, it's entertaining. I think I probably would have preferred just a straight up story about this Chinese immigrant family, As a failed child, I cried profusely. I mean, when you get into the sci-fi elements and all that, there's some interesting ways to get at this idea about choices not taken and this kind of thing, and living with regret and being happy with what you have and who you are. I mean, there's important themes like that, but I liked the original story that gets set up before it starts adding in all these sci-fi elements. And yeah, then it gets into the weird, absurdist comedy. It felt like 4 or 5 different movies in one, and it was kind of entertaining. But I think I probably would have preferred it without the hot dog stuff and without the Matrix kind of stuff or whatever. All the different elements that are being poured in there. I spent the last half of the film with tears streaming down my face. Yeah, I think they could have gotten there with just a straight story about this family. I think you could have gotten to all that good stuff without getting into the wacky. And a lot of it is just, a lot of the humor too was very it's like I think I saw someone describe it as Reddit the movie. And a lot of the humor was really oh, look how silly, look how wacky and random this is. Ooh. Oh, we're so random. I thought it was a little bit trying too hard with some of those moments. Yeah, the raccoon, the hot dog fingers, it's funny. In and of itself, it's funny. But none of it felt like it was part of the same movie. What do you want about today? What movie? We're talking about Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I just saw the other night. Kind of enjoyed it. Didn't love it. It gets a tepid recommend. Tepid recommend. That's my final verdict on Everything Everywhere All at Once. Probably worth watching, but I think it would have been just better as a dramatic comedy about this Chinese immigrant family. I think that probably would have been a lot better than the movie they ended up making, which is a weird mix of an immigrant story. It's The Matrix. It's absurd comedy. It's like that Jet Li movie, The One. It's very strange. It's a strange film. I can recommend The Punisher from 2004. Is that the one with Thomas Jane? I saw that in the theater, I think, in 2004. Did not enjoy it. Hello, Frost Banana. What's up? I think that's kind of the point. A dramatic comedy about a Chinese immigrant family would be an entirely different movie. No, absolutely. That's probably what I would have preferred, though. I thought whenever they got into the crazy genre stuff, I was more just like, I just wanted to stay in the world that you were building already. It reminds me, because I really enjoyed the Edgar Wright trilogy, the Cornetto trilogy, A Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, but it reminded me of A World's End, because I felt the exact same way about World's End. With World's End, when it got into the weird sci-fi stuff, I was like, I wanted to stay in the world that they were building of this like former cool high school guy and his like, midlife crisis and getting all his mates back together. Like I just wanted a movie about that. And when you got into the weird alien invasion, apocalyptic stuff, I was like, I'm not interested in this. That's kind of how I felt about Everything Everywhere All at Once. The more it got into the sci-fi and the different dimensions and the weird absurdist comedy, I was kind of just like, it didn't really do anything for me. Anyway, a brief pop culture corner. I had heard that too, but everyone seemed to love it. I had a feeling I wouldn't. I would definitely recommend it still. It's worth watching. Definitely worth watching. But I saw it being like really universally praised by a lot of people, and I didn't really feel the same sense of, I didn't feel that strongly about it. Okay, I'm kind of losing energy, and I got to go soon anyways. I guess here's the one thing that I wanted to talk about, just to take a look at. We already talked about all the rail strike stuff. But probably just worth looking at the clip of Biden signing this thing.
The House Joint Resolution 100. Okay.
And he has the fucking audacity to say the fight for paid sick leave is not over. Yes, it is, Joe. Yes, it is. It is over. You're legislating these workers back to work. They didn't agree to this contract. And it's not even a nationalized industry. Like, why is it? It's a private industry. How does the fucking government have the ability to legislate them back to work? How? And then he says the fight for paid sick leave is not over. They're losing the House in like 2 weeks. In 2 weeks from now, they will no longer control the House. So yes, it is over. It is over. You sold out the workers. Grandpa Joe, Brandon sold out the workers, and frankly, so did the Progressive Caucus, no matter what progressive language they used to justify their, the fact that they voted for this bill to legislate it was a strike-breaking bill to legislate these workers back to work. No matter how they couched that, it was because that was what union leadership wanted. That was what these rank and file union people wanted. No matter what they say, they voted for a bill to legislate these workers back to work. And then they voted for this other bill so they could say they did the right thing, and they say they support the right thing, knowing full well it was not going to pass. And yeah, creating thousands of new Trumpers, for sure. Absolutely. It's a specific act like the Railway Act of 1922 or something. It's specific to railroads. Yeah, okay, so actually I said I don't understand, but I do understand because our guest on the Insurgents podcast this week, which I recommend everyone listen to about this subject, did explain this. So there is a reason for it, although it's still absolute bullshit, to be clear. And like it's a layup. It was a layup. Biden and the Dems could have supported this and gotten these workers their time off. They could have gotten them their 6 days. It would have been their sick days. It would have been a huge win. They fucking blew it.
And by the way, I really can't emphasize enough how much I appreciate the team behind me, working with business and labor to get this done and avoid this.
Didn't work with labor.
What otherwise is a really good bill lacking only one thing. And we're going to get that one thing done before it's all over. But anyway, thank you.
No, he's not going to get it done. You're not going to get shit done. You know? Reminder, the workers asked for 14 days. Well, they should get 14 days. I mean, as we discussed the other day when this came up the first time, when you talk about this is like, well, we can't let these workers strike. It would have these terrible economic consequences. Just give them what they're asking for. Just give them what they're fucking asking for. Give them their 14 days. You know? And I'm sure you agree, Benjamin, but it's true. It's like 6 days of sick leave was a compromise in the first place. They should just be getting what they ask for in the first place. If these workers are so essential that the entire economy will collapse if they don't go to their jobs, then they should be compensated properly. And we're still in the middle of a fucking global pandemic, which is never going away because of America's non-COVID response. So that for that reason alone, almost all workers should be getting more sick days, more sick time off, especially these essential railroad workers. You preemptively fuck these workers over because he's friends with Warren Buffett. I mean, that's as simple as it can be broken down to. And all this stuff coming from like the squad members or whatever that voted for this, regardless of how symbolic it was, like they didn't need AOC's vote to pass this bill. They didn't need Ilhan Omar's vote to pass this bill. They could have done what Rashida Tlaib did. It was all symbolic anyways. They couldn't block it, but they could do the right thing. They could indicate to workers that they were on the side of the workers by not supporting the legislation to break their strike and legislate them back to work, and then voting for the other thing, which they knew full well was not going to pass. It was like what Rashida Tlaib did. It's 100% symbolic, but it's at least it's symbolically doing the right thing instead of symbolically doing the wrong thing. You know, what is the purpose of having these like outspoken progressives in your party if time and time again they're going to side with the establishment of the party rather than going against the establishment of the party, or they're not going to use their power as a voting bloc to pressure the establishment in any way? They do not seem willing to do that. This is how news can make it seem like they're responding while not actually solving anything for them. Yeah. It's the like our friend Marcus in Left Flank Vet says, the work of saying. They want the work of saying. They're doing the work of saying. Speaking of Marcus, actually, because we've been doing some I game with Marcus fairly often, along with other community member and our friend Bleep Blomp Ben, our friend Grom Storino, a few others. We have a little gaming crew going, playing Fortnite. And so we're going to start to actually stream that. So look for that starting next week. We're going to start doing some early gaming sessions before the stream starting. Some early gaming sessions. Because we usually have some good convos anyways, whereas we're just hanging out and gaming. So we're going to start doing that, I think, at least 1 or 2 times a week. Like before the stream starts, some early gaming sessions with some interesting folks doing some Fortnite. Maxie, you're going to watch that? Good. Good to know. Good to know. That should be fun. I guess I could play. There's nothing wrong with me playing one game of Fortnite now, right? Before I leave. There's nothing wrong with that. Is there?
Thank you.
There's nothing wrong with me doing that. It's not illegal for me to do that. It's perfectly legal. It's perfectly legal for me to do that. For me to fire up Fortnite right now. So wait, what about the pre-streams asking for a friend? Well, Sean, when do you do it? Tell me when the pre-streams are happening. Lately, there hasn't been any. I would be happy to, Sean, as always, I would be happy to have you as the pre-stream. But I also do, because we're doing these gaming sessions anyways, so I think sometimes I'm being too harsh on Sean today. Jesus. I got to dial that, I got to rein that in a little bit. Reel that in. I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry. I apologize. I guess the point was, though, that like we were doing these gaming sessions anyways, though, so we might as well, because you're not allowed to have like a hobby anymore. You're not allowed to do anything, for yourself because you want to. You have to commodify it and turn it into content for people. So that's what we're going to start doing in some of these gaming sessions, at least once or twice a week. I was just this banana guy here. Where's the good place for the chat? Like, this isn't very good. I'm going to switch up my guy here. I'm going to go back to my alien Bella. The Blue Man Group. We were like a banana squad today. Which sounds a little weird. Put the chat. There is better. Is that weird? Is it weird to have you over there? You know, it was good this season was the Chrome stuff. I went crazy with the Chrome splash. I didn't love it. I didn't love it. No, it's too weird to have you over there, chat. I don't like it. Yesterday in Fortnite, I almost pulled out the Battle Royale win while people were watching, which would have been very exciting for me, but wasn't able to pull it out in the end. We'll see if I can do it today. And Maxi, if you're watching, this is for you. This is for you. This is for you, Maxi.
Understand. Ames, do we know someone who speaks tree?
Talk to Bush Ranger.
There's that weirdo who's always handing me leaflets. Bush Ranger, go find him.
Just have split screen so you can see your keyboard and mouse action. That's the real hardcore gamer mode, isn't it? I do think I need to move my camera, or at least move my window over here when I game. Because I'm too much looking like this, right? I feel like it would be better. I don't know if I can game while looking at this. I don't think I'm going to be very good doing that. I have to look at the big screen. I'll figure it out. I do want to start doing some more gaming on the channel. I started playing Soma. I want to finish that. I haven't done that.
Bushy thinks he can do it.
As the most flammable guy on the island, he better know he can do it.
Take these seeds and plant them across the island to triangulate a signal.
What seeds? I don't even have a gun yet. This is not good. Do not have a gun. I got no gun, folks. Okay, that was a mulligan. That was a mulligan. That one didn't count. Didn't count. Get out of here. Did not count. Okay, this is the one. This is for all the marbles here. This one counts. The first one never counts. Thank you, Benjamin. Agreed. No, it does not. One day until the finale. I'm looking forward to that finale. That should be kind of cool. So this is it. This is the one. I'll try and pick up the win here. See if I can do it. And then I'm going to say goodbye after. I really quite like this dance here. Plant the first tree seed near Greasy Grove. I don't remember getting a tree. Was I supposed to get a seed there? I'm gonna smoke weed now. Hell yeah, Maxie. We love it. We love it. Bush Ranger gave it to me. Okay. So I just have to go do some like little... I thought it was like one of those reality tree things. Someone doing the same thing. We should start with some kind of weapon, unlike last time. Go pretty far here. Say they're adding motorcycles. I'm interested to see what next season is about. You want them to flip it again? Flip it back over? I don't even remember what the old map looked like.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob to talk you through all this.
I am finally able to watch Rob Rousseau.
Blueberry, thank you very much for the 23 months tier 1. Oh my goodness, Blueberry. 1 month away. 1 month away from the highly exclusive, highly elite 24-month sub badge. Very exciting. Thank you very much for the 23 months of tier 1. You're finally able to watch right at the gaming hours. Right at gaming hours. The whole thing about voting the way the unions asked them to is very, very tricky, isn't it? Like, who asked you to? The union leadership? What do the actual workers want? That's kind of the question, isn't it? Who's asking you to support this legislation? I'm on a quest right now, so I don't want to mess with that person too much. I could have easily killed that person, but... yeah, a lot of that stuff just seems to be like, oh, we want the credit for fighting for the good thing while also supporting our party's legislation to put these workers back to work. Even though voting no on it would have been a purely symbolic thing, which would just indicate that we don't support this idea of breaking this strike like this. Seems like they had to find this like progressive excuse to not do this. And like we've been saying, then they wonder why working people turn away from the liberal establishment, the Democratic Party.
Hey, Amy. Thanks for everything. Best friend.
Too much, too soon.
Just friends then. Got it.
Make sure you get Bushy and Metal for this. Or some ornaments. We couldn't have done this without him. Without any of you.
I guess it leaves it open to the libs. Oh, they should just vote in new leadership if they're not happy. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Here's hoping we see each other again. Paradigm, over and out.
Oh, man. Yesterday I played Fortnite on the stream. I got 10 eliminations and finished top 3. And now I have 2 games here, and I've failed. I've failed miserably. Smoking no got Maxi doing quotes from The Mask in the chat. That's how grim things are here. That's how grim things are. We're doing The Mask quotes. Not good. Not a good situation. We've got to follow this fella. Yeah, I'm gonna make you look at this. I am leveling up a little bit. A little tiny bit. Have any weekly? Ooh, one more weekly quest. What do I got here? Use the dial-a-drop to call in a vehicle. I don't know what that is. Be chrome for 180 seconds. I can't believe I still haven't done that. I guess I should be going more for, actually trying to win rather than just doing quests, but gotta get that precious XP, folks. Gotta get the precious XP. I got something going here. Finally. About time. I need more chrome. I can chrome myself in this Tempest, can't I? Ah! This is not my day, friends. It's not my day. Okay? It's okay. It's okay to admit. Sometimes it's just you don't have the stuff. You don't have the special stuff. And today was one of those days. We'll get it next time. See? I'm not mad. I'm not frustrated. You see how it just washes right off my back. No problem. Thank you for watching the stream today, folks, and this week. that'll do it for another week of your favorite stream, TRRS.
You can count on me. You're going to have good old Rob
Twitch.tv.
to talk you through all this.
Maxie, thank you very much for the 17 months tier 1. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you all, but especially Maxie for subscribing just now. It was almost a 5-stream week. I'll try again next week. I'll see if I can do next week. Technically, I think I got the 5 streams in the week as on a technicality, but there's been some debate about whether the stream yesterday counted, my 15 seconds of weird staring. There's been some talk about some dispute over that, so you missed a stare stream. It was an entire stream of staring. An entire stream of it. Everyone's favorite segment, when I stare creepily. Everyone loves when I stare creepily. It's everyone's favorite moment here on TRRS. It was an entire stream of that yesterday. Only for the real heads. Only the real heads were in on that one. So, sorry you missed it, Matt. Have a good weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching again this week. As always, I appreciate you all for tuning into this program. Should be back on Monday, barring any kind of unforeseen circumstance. And we'll hang out some more. We'll hang out even more. Yet again. I'll be back yet again. And then the next day. And the next day. And the week after that. And the 1 year later, I'll still be there. And 5 years later, I'll still be there. Every day of my life, I'll be here with you. Goodbye.